Hello, guys. My name is Raj, and I'm here on Sunrise Radio. And today we are humbled and honoured to have Andleeb Hanif, the founding partner and managing editor of Asian Express newspaper based here in Yorkshire. Welcome to Sunrise, Andleeb.
Thank you very much, Rad. It's an honour for me actually to be on such an iconic radio station, something that's been enjoyed throughout the communities over the years, and it's an honour for me as well. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome, and thank you for joining us. So, Andleeb, some of our listeners might not obviously be aware of yourself. Tell us about your journey into media and publishing.
Okay, so I'm born and bred Bradfordian. I'm a Yorkshire girl through and through. I grew up in younger years in the dense South Asian community, the areas of Manningham. And then when I was a teenager, moved to the outskirts of Bradford, which was near Haworth. And I'm actually a teacher by qualification. I have a bachelor's degree in sciences. So originally I was a teacher, and then I managed to secure a temporary job with the local Bradford newspaper back in 1996. And I fell in love with journalism and what news can do and the impact it has on communities.
Now, you mentioned news. How important is it to tell our stories from, particularly the South Asian community?
It's vital, because if we don't share our own stories with our nuance and authority, then someone else is going to do that for us. And very often it's coming from a lens of crime and crisis. And in fact, that's one of the reasons why I felt so passionate about covering stories from within our communities, because there's incredible work that goes on, incredible individuals there. And all you heard from the mainstream press was yobs, mobs, and drug dealers. So, what are our younger generations actually reading and hearing that basically we're all branded as this really negative kind of community? And it's not like that at all.
Now, you mentioned that was when you first entered the industry. Do you think mainstream media, to a certain degree, still underrepresents diverse voices?
I think a lot of progress has happened over the last 2 to 3 decades. But I think that representation is still often kind of embedded with kind of the conversations about culture, race, or religion. And I think, when we have, diverse voices that are talking about these issues is great to have a balance, but we need South Asian voices in areas of expertise, in business, in leadership, in tech, in science, in politics. And I think there's still work to be done.
Now, I've seen firsthand, obviously from my family background, how hard it can be, especially for a woman in this industry. What challenges have you faced?
I'd say in the beginning, it was probably being underestimated. And I think that very quickly kind of changed because Asian Express were a husband and wife team. So everywhere that Nadeem went, I was kind of attached to him. And everywhere that I was going, Nadeem was very often with us. So we were seen as kind of a unanimous kind of package, if you like. So I think that was in the very beginning. That's kind of what I faced, but I think that very quickly changed, and I think it comes from within as well. It depends how you see those challenges and how you deal with those challenges. And I think if you know exactly where you're going, where you're coming from, nothing can shake that. I think that's probably I'd round that up to that, basically.
Now, Asian Express newspaper itself is well known within our community. What story or campaign have you been involved with that you're most proud of?
Raj, the thing is that I think for me personally, every single community story that I do, every woman that I feature, every child that I feature, business that I feature, it and the excellence and the stuff that they're doing, and it's groundbreaking, and it's changing the narrative, and it's dispelling all these myths and stigmas. Those are, every single one is a champion for me. There's a couple that we were kind of really excited about. We found a kidney donor for a young girl some 12 years ago, through an appeal that we ran in Asian Express. That was incredible. And then we also had a big part to play with the ethnic communities in saving the heart surgery fund. Services were due to be cut because of government kind of shake-up that was going on, and Leeds Children's Heart Surgery Fund was set to face closures, and we played, I feel, a really great part in kind of making sure that we got the awareness going for the South Asian communities for them to petition and rally support for that. So yeah, we've done loads of stuff, but I think the community stuff that's where I'm at. I've done the Bollywood celeb interviews, and they're great, and I've been to Downing Street, and we've been to VIP stuff, but it's the community stuff that really keeps me ticking.
Amazing. What would you say has been the toughest moments in your career, and what did it teach you?
I think at the very beginning, part of my career, because I think when I wanted to go into business, there were a lot of people around me that were kind of, are you sure you want to do this? It's kind of, media was very kind of very niche. It wasn't something like, becoming a doctor, teacher, lawyer, accountant kind of profession. And I knew exactly what I wanted to do. And I did feel that I was alone in part of that journey. Obviously, I had the support of my parents, but the other people around me, kind of friends, were quite concerned that I was taking this very big step towards starting my own newspaper, when there wasn't another newspaper in our locality, and if it was going to be able to sustain itself. So I think that's probably the biggest challenge that I've had.
Now, you mentioned it's very much a family affair, and you mentioned your parents there. Who would you say has inspired you along this journey?
I'd say both my mum and dad, but mainly my father. He came from very underprivileged, very underprivileged background. He grew up, and his father had passed away just before he was born. So my father was, on his own, the youngest of all his siblings. They faced incredible hardship. And I remember that Abu came to England to work in the mills, like so many families that are here in Yorkshire and Lancashire in particular. Their forefathers came to work in the mills. So my father came not knowing a single word of English, and he self-taught. He absolutely self-taught, and although he wasn't educated to a certain level, he managed to get his O levels in English. And I'm the eldest of three girls, so for him it was education, education, education. My girls need to educate. And so my father was the one that, because I was the eldest, I got pushed the hardest, right? So, which is absolutely fine, because that made me who I am today. But yeah, definitely my father.
And, as we close the interview, what's next for Asian Express?
Okay, so we were delighted that we made it to 25 years last year. So we celebrated our 25th anniversary of being around. And it felt really fitting to kind of elevate the storytelling, and we created two award platforms. One is the Business Power Awards, which celebrates business entrepreneurial kind of innovation in our region. And the other is the Empowering Women Awards, BPA Empowering Women Awards. And actually, the lead of Sunrise Radio, she won, Usha Bamaji, she won the Lifetime Achievement Award, very well deserved. So it's actually, we have those, the award platforms happening again this year. This is an extension of what Asian Express already does, which is kind of share stories of our region, and bring out the spotlight on these people that normally would just be kind of like, not, bothered about fame or putting themselves out there. And these are the gems that we need to bring out, because when we showcase the work that they're doing and who they are, it inspires the next generation. For me personally, as a woman, that is the best advocacy you can have for our younger girls, right? So this is kind of like a personal mission of mine. to kind of champion other women. And, you know, if you don't have a seat at the table, build your own table and then make a space for another woman to sit beside you. So,
That's
yeah.
amazing. So on this International Women's Day, what message would you like to share with women and young girls listening to Sunrise today?
Yeah, empower yourselves, persevere, and don't wait for anybody to give you any kind of permissions. You know, go out there and get it for yourself. Do it and do it. And if you're really convinced that you can achieve, you will achieve. And seek the support of women who are like you, that have the experience, that can assist you, because I'm telling you, there's so many of us out there that want to help. And users, we're here for that reason. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us, Andleeb.
Thank you, Rad. Thank you.